Hey, what's up guys, my name is Off, and welcome to another video. Today's video is the $1,000 gaming setup. So, long story short, I saw this comment here, boop, and I thought about maybe making a video where it's just a whole setup for $1,000 rather than a computer for $1,000. And I realized a lot of people prefer to just have the whole thing for a cheaper price rather than just have the device. And it makes sense. I mean, if you have like $1,000 to spend on a whole setup, thousand ish, then you might prefer just to spend on a setup rather than the computer itself, which is the reason why I made this PC build slash with accessories all in just that price point. So this is including the PC, the monitor, the keyboard and mouse, and the headset, all in one price point. So without wasting time, let's just get right to the video. Planning out for this whole setup is going to be the PC builds first. And the PC builds processor will be the i5-12600KF. So it's a 10-core processor, 6-core, 4 efficiency cores. It does not have integrated graphics, which is fine since we're going to use a discrete graphics card anyways. And overall, it's a good, fast processor from Intel. It's coming from someone who has a similar type of CPU-ish. It does the job. It does the job for gaming and even for video editing and live streaming, which you could do it. So, good processor, very strong processor. Of course, it requires a graphics card, which is fine because we have a graphics card in this PC build anyways. But overall, for the price point, it's a good graphics card. Also, it's overclockable, so we're going with it. Now, for the CPU cooler, we went with the Thermalright Aqua Elite V3. It's a 120mm liquid cooler, so isn't the best liquid cooler in the world, but it does the job to cool the processor. I wouldn't recommend it to overclock your CPU, but if you just want something that's cool and also cools your PC, or rather your CPU, I mean, it's good. It does the job, so we're adding it. For the motherboard, we went with the ASRock B760MPG Lightning. It's a DDR4 motherboard since we're going to use DDR4 RAM. Like I said before, it's honestly the most simplest but nice motherboard from Intel for a good price point. It's not like AMD level of motherboard, but it does the job. At least it has a Type-C port, good VRMs, heat sinks. It does the job. So it's also mostly black color, which is very nice. Simple black design. It's nice, so we're going with it. But the RAM went with the Team Group T-Force Vulcan Z 16 gigs. So it's an dual 8 gigs, 3200 megahertz is DDR4. It does the job, especially since an i5 of Intel, it only supports maximum of 3200 megahertz anyways. I don't know if you can overclock it or anything like that, but for the most part, it's pretty much the perfect RAM for the perfect CPU combo, so we're going with it. Now for the storage, we went with the 880XPG GameX S60 blade. It's essentially like a cheaper version of the S70 blade. I don't have any background specs information of it, but I'm gonna assume it's a very good Gen 4 SSD, especially since it's written here that it works with the PS5. So I'm gonna assume it's a very fast SSD, but not the fastest. With that said, it's a Gen 4 SSD. It's 1TB. It's cheaper. It has a heatsink. It's a good SSD. Would prefer the S70, but the price was expensive, so we went with this. Now for the GPU, went with the MSI GeForce RTX 3060 Ventus 2X. So it's an RTX 3060. It's 12 gigs of VRAM. I know it's the RTX 3060s or the 30 series are a little bit older-ish, but not to that extent. But it's a 12 gigs of graphics card at a cheaper price point, and that feels more reliable, or rather, it just makes more sense to buy them comparing to, I don't know, the 40 series. Especially since most of the 40 series are not exactly the best option in the world. I mean, it's either less VRAM than the 3060, or it's too expensive. So, I'm going with the 3060 here. Now, for the power supply, we went with the APV Prestige 600 watts. It's a gold certified power supply. It's non-modular, so all cables. Although at least the cables, I believe it. No, it's ketchup and mustard. Okay, well in that case, okay, it's a ketchup and mustard motherboard. Power supply. But I mean, at least it's a gold certified power supply and 600 watts. So if you want something cheaper that powers your computer and you don't care if it's ketchup and mustard cables, then you get this. Now for the case, we went with the Antec NX500M Micro ATX case. It's an Antec case. It's not exactly the best case in the world, but it does have a space in the top for even a 240mm liquid coolant if you want to do that in the future. It has space for most of the parts here in the list, even including more. And overall, for the price point, it feels like a good case. Not the best, but works just well. So, especially for the price point, we're going with it. Now, for the accessories, we're starting with the keyboard. And the keyboard of choice is going to be Defqwop Phantom RGB gaming keyboard. So, long story short, it's a 10 keyless keyboard. It's a red switch keyboard. The RGB is very nice. I believe it's per key backlit keyboard. I might be wrong. Overall, from what I heard from reviews, it's pretty good for the price point at least. It's $30, so you get a red switch keyboard, which is good for playing fast shooting games. It's more faster response and it's not that noisy, especially if you're doing streaming. Probably prefer that type of keyboard. And overall, I really like red switch keyboard, and this red switch keyboard for the price point is insane. I mean, $30. Back then, you would have to pay more than $50 to get like a normal good mechanical keyboard. 10 keyless keyboard and it's red switch and it's backlit RGB keys. I mean, hey, why? I want that. Anyways, long story short, for the price point, it's very good. We're going with it. For the mouse, we went with the AOC GM500. It's a gaming mouse from a reliable company. It is 5000 DPI, and honestly, for 5000 DPI for the price point, it's good. I mean, my mouse is like 4000, something like that. So 5000, it's pretty decent. It's pretty good for a gaming mouse. It is RGB. I believe it does have a software so you can change the RGB. Overall, for $10, is pretty good. Now, for the headset, we had to go with the best headset in the market for the price point, and went with the Sennheiser EPOS Gaming Zero, or Sennheiser Game Zero. Long story short, Sennheiser is very known for their headsets. It's very good. I mean, I have two. And long story short, their microphone is very good. The audio is amazing. And this is no exception. So it's a good headset for the price point. It's $50, and you get good audio quality and great microphones. So if you want the best product for the price point, you have to go with it. Also, it used to be more expensive, so we're gonna have to go with it. And last but not least, in the accessories, we're going with the monitor. And the monitor of choice is gonna be the ASRock PG27FF1A. It is a 165Hz IPS monitor. It's, at least from what I heard, or from the reviews I was looking and the specs itself, very color accurate, very fast panel. It's 1 millisecond, but not great to great response time, but still quick enough to play games on it. It's 27 inches, so, if you want a 27-inch, there you go. And for the price point, it's pretty good. The only other exception as well, other than the 1 millisecond of MPRT, not great to great, so it's not exactly the most responsive. Probably like 3 millisecond of response time, real response time. But also, it's not as bright. It's 250 nits, so, not as exactly the brightest one. It says to be HDR10, but let's be honest, HDR10 is not really HDR. But overall, it's not that bad. It's FreeSync Premium. The ports are pretty decent. One DisplayPort 1.2 and 2 HDMI 2.0. Pretty good ports. Even supports for VESA mounting, so if you want to put in a monitor arm, you have that choice. There's a speaker for some reason, but overall, it's pretty good. Pretty decent for the price point, so I have to go with it. Now, the total price point for this whole setup is going to be around $1,002. So you're paying like $2-3 more than $1,000, but it's not that big of a deal, especially with some discounts here and there. Or if you can find it somewhere else more cheaper, they'll be around $1,000. So you get a whole setup for a price of $1,000. I say that's a pretty good price point for this whole setup. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys liked it. Again, it is a price point for parts that actually make sense, that are pretty good. If you want to change things or you want to do something different, you can. You can get for like a cheaper SSD or different, I don't know, different processor, motherboard combo. If you can find something cheaper, or monitor or anything like that, you can choose whatever you want. Overall, though, if you want to get something very good, you probably would prefer to spend around $1,000. Believe me, $1,000 is the sweet spot to buy a pretty good setup in general. So yeah, I feel like it's a great setup. Personally, I'm happy with this setup. If you guys want to comment down below about your opinion, whether I could change something or not, comment down below, share this video, give a like. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, hope you guys liked it. Comment down below, like I said. Remember to subscribe. Please subscribe. Share this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.